Most welcome everybody to Aerospace Almedalen, the arena for aviation and space in Visby. Please take a seat. Our tent here in Almedalen is almost full, and we also have some online followers, all of which are most welcome, of course. Our focus for the next seminar is the future of regional airports, vital to Swedish transport infrastructure for connectivity, growth and preparedness, but with a constant need to address profitability demands as well as securing the transition to fossil-free aviation. At Almedalen, Swedish regional airports and Green Airport bring together representatives from the aviation industry, fuel sector and airport operators to discuss the way forward. What are the challenges? What means are at our disposal? What remains to be done by actors in the value chain? Your hosts are Swedish Regional Airports Green Airport. Here's Peter Larsson, CEO, Swedish Regional Airports, to put you in the picture. Most welcome, Peter.
Thank you very much, Colin. In the introduction, it was said that I should give an open and honest account on the challenges we face. And all right, I will do that. Aviation is quite simply all about flying. Well, of course. But think about it. The entire industry depends on people flying, and the more people that do fly, the more revenue is generated. Airfare support the airlines, which can then pay landing fees. Those fees cover the costs for the airports. But then, if not very many people fly, then everything goes the other way around. Revenue decline, and it becomes difficult for everyone in the industry to generate revenues. This is most notable at small airports. At the moment, revenues becomes virtually non-existent for our airport. And you can say the smallest are hit the hardest. Today, we are at a crossroad. Frankly, we need more public commitment to maintain accessibility and air connectivity throughout the country. Several processes are currently underway regarding this. The government's Airport Commission will soon issue a report on these issues. And here in Almedalen, there are plenty of politicians who have the chance to explain their views on aviation. Saying that, we also find ourselves at another crossroad. Despite this precarious situation for the domestic aviation, we carry out at the moment, I would say, a fully fossil-free transition that is often gone unnoticed. And our project that we will listen to more today, Green Airport, eller på Svenska, Flygplats, has been working persistently on this for several years. And today we will hear some very exciting and I would say very, very concrete example of this. And this means that when air travelers finally return, we will be better equipped, perhaps even compared to the situation non-existing compared to today. So I would say we will get perhaps a more green aviation and perhaps a more strong aviation than we haven't seen before. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Challenges are there, but yet a positive note to this, and rightly so, because regional airports are indeed on the ball here. Project Green Airport, as you heard, they bring together regional airport into the future to accelerate fossil-free aviation through collaboration, innovation, efficient operations and sustainable fuels. Anna Soltorp is project leader at Green Airport. She will sum up the strategy and goals for the Airport of the Future 2050. Welcome, Anna.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, Swedish regional airports are, as you know, constantly working very hard in daily operations. But we still believe it's important to have a vision and a plan. So now we want to share our vision with you about the regional airport of the future. And I can't see, thank you. And this one stands on 4 pillars. The first one is the regional airport's role in sustainable, inclusive regional development. And this is about how the regional airport of the future grows into a broader role in society. It will have fully fossil-free air traffic, thanks to sustainable aviation fuels, but also hybrid, electric, and hydrogen-fueled aviation. It will also contribute to regional growth across the country, connecting local and global infrastructure. And doing so, it will reduce the gap between urban and rural areas, a very important point for us. It will help emergency preparedness and hold an important role in the total defense system of the country, today more needed than before. Does it make a strange sound? Well, okay. The second pillar is the digitalized and automated airport. And this includes an extensive automation of ground operations at the airports. It means that autonomous vehicles can handle operation and maintenance. Security scanning and air traffic control can be managed remotely in collaboration between different airports. And of course, optimized operation reduce the financial burden of the airport's owners and lead to smoother travel experience for passengers. The third pillar, or thirdly, it's the airport as an energy hub, a node for producing, distributing energy and fuels, as has been mentioned before today, a very important point for us. Solar installations and large-scale energy storage is the backbone of this. And it will make the airport self-sufficient in green electricity for operations and air traffic. Also, of course, that green hydrogen can be produced at the airport. And those short and secure supply chains will give controlled operating costs and preparedness, what we really need. And the fourth is the airport as a sustainable travel and freight hub. We are looking forward to see connecting air taxi services via a network of vertiports and to having autonomous ground vehicles connecting the region in a new way. And we believe that a large share of air traffic can be unmanned, with pilots operating from ground control centers. And we are aware, of course, that the future holds many challenges as well as options. And we, together, will be working to make our vision come true. And that is doing all we can to manage the transition for regional airports. Among us, many are already fossil-free in our own operations, but we have no intentions of stopping there, because the future is there for us to create together. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Indeed, Swedish regional airports are, as it is, doing an outstanding job in many ways. So worth to mention here is that Örnsköldsvik was actually the first airport in the world to implement remote air traffic control. Since then, airports have continued along that part of innovation, developing and deploying new remote technologies such as remote X-ray screening. So we're moving forward towards 2050. The future of regional airports through green transition lies largely in 3 dimensions: what we do in the air, in the tank, and also on the ground, as you've understood already. So let's hear what 3 representatives in the forefront have to say in this matter. Please welcome Clemente Affinito, Vice President Sales Europe ATR, Janssen, Head of Business Development ST1, and Simon Algotsson, CEO Lycksele Airport. Give them a round of applause, please. Benvenuto, Clemente.
Grazie.
Yes. So let's start with your work with ATR, which has been the backbone of regional aviation since 1981. 45 years, impressively. Later, where do we actually stand on hybrid aircraft? What role do you see hybrids playing in the real-world transition, not only on the conceptual stage?
Yeah, I would say that you are mentioning the 1981 was the incorporation of the company, and the first flight was in '86. But since then, we never stopped developing and evolving and changing the aircraft. The aircraft of today is completely different from the aircraft of 40 years ago. And obviously, we are aiming for something that will be different in the near future. Having said so, it should be reminded that the ATR of today is already an aircraft with an incredible fuel efficiency that, compared to regional jets, is impacting on the fossil emissions 70% less per seat on the comparative size of regional. My first message, because I'm basic and concrete, is that when we are aiming for the better future, we have to start preparing from the present. And I would like to see many more ATRs for Bradens flying in your country and in Scandinavia, rather than regional jets of a comparable size that are polluting 40-50% more per trip.
So you're suggesting a technology transition here, I guess.
Yeah, no, this is already starting from the present, going to the future.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is not just a commercial speech, because if we have been selected by the European Commission to lead programs for the ultra-efficient regional aircraft for the future, is actually because we are already very good today. Otherwise, there will not be the same platform that born in 45 years ago, selected to be the platform for the next 20-30 years to the completely fossil-free aviation in 2050.
Yeah, so it speaks for itself pretty much, as I say. But you have a concept, the EVO concept, that you're famous for. What does it mean in practice, and what is your objective?
Practice is, again, our roadmap is starting from the aircraft of today, thanks to the selection that we got from the European Commission for the Clean Aviation Program, is to develop to have an hybrid aircraft, so hybridization of the current platform. This hybridization will be proved by flights that will be done in 2029, late 29, beginning of the 2030. And starting from this hybridization, to the proved hybridization, then we'll be moving forward to the what we call EVO, evolution aircraft. That is a 72-600 with the new materials in the cabin to get it lighter. Why getting lighter? Because everything that is getting battery on board is more is heavier, and with this battery that will be generating power for the engines of today, that will be incorporating two small electrical engines, and this electrification will be used for the takeoff and for some part of the cruise. And then we will come to the impacting on the regional airports. But again, with this, we have to remind that the ATR of today is already capable for 50% SAF.
Yeah.
That we prove it three times in Sweden, with a flight to Mio, with a flight to Bromma, and with a flight of 100% fossil-free fuel SAF on board from Malmo to Bromma in 2022. So we proved that already today it could be a completely fossil-free aircraft if all powers are moving in the same direction.
True. So we don't have to. Of course, it will be interesting when the EO concept is done and you have a result. But we can do a lot today. And you remember the perfect flight? Yes, that was a groundbreaker, really. Yeah. So you spoke before about projects that you're involved in and engaged. You have the Europe's Clean Sky, Clean Aviation project programs there on EU level. Could you elaborate on that? What you do there?
The Clean Aviation for the regional aviation is on 4 pillars. And the ATR is on the leader of 2 of the 4 pillars. That is the Heracles and the Demetra. Heracles stands for high efficient regional aircraft without emissions, and the Demetra stands for demonstration. So we are with the Heracles assembling the assemblers of all the other technologies to be then inserted in our platform, and with the Demetra demonstration, we are tasked to demonstrate that all of this together is actually working. And the horizon, again, as I told you, is 2029, 2030.
Yeah, so interesting, and of course it's crucial to be there. to be present, to be active in the EU project. It will be most interesting to follow your path through that and see where it ends up. So that's for the planes in the air. We are moving to the tank now. Christian Janssen, ST1, one of the energy companies proactive in the production and distribution of renewable aviation fuel. So, Christian, what is the current availability of SAF in Sweden, and what are the feedstocks?
Well, our capacity today is around 100,000 cubes of neat SAF, and with a 50% blend that is sufficient for 200,000 cubes of fuel. Or saying 20% of the need in Sweden. But I need to start with to say that our first customer was Bra. So we fueled the ATR with SAF. That's our first customer. So we already have started our collaboration.
Yeah. One happy family.
One happy family. And if I had the money, I would buy a private aircraft from you. But I'm not paid that well. So when it comes to feedstock, I thought I saw my friend Roger here from SCA, but maybe he walked away when he saw me. So, but SCA is a 25% owner of the biorefinery, and we source tall oil from their paper and pulp industry as a side stream from the production. So that's one thing. And then I have a question for the audience, and that is about food in England. So what is English food known for? Fried. I mean, I think in the UK they fry everything, be it tea or ice cream or French fries. But we actually bought a used cooking oil company in the UK, Brocklesby, and that is an important feedstock into our production. And then the rest is, let's say 50% is coming from the global market, primarily used cooking oil and animal fats. But our strategy is to source the feedstock as much as possible locally and regionally. So
that's the future production, that as much as possible, regionally and locally then?
Yeah, I mean, this feedstock we have today is a so-called HEFA technology, and there is a limitation on the global supply of that feedstock. So the next generation will look at the forestry, and we have this joint venture with SCA, where we're looking at producing advanced stuff from sawdust and bark and pellets.
Wow.
It's a bit into the future. We will also combine that with hydrogen, so you will get a combination of biofuel and electrofuel.
So obviously you will be able to deliver, but how can we increase the demand?
Lots of ways to increase the demand, and of course one vehicle of doing that is the Refuel EU Aviation, so the mandates on a European level. That's all good, but there are voices within Europe that gives cause for concern.
Such as?
Well, maybe we should put the mandates a bit into the future, because we will put such a burden on passengers and so forth. And I think the first revision is 2027, and then there will be something every 4 years. So regulations with all respect to regulations, I mean, as we have politicians behind it, it's not always certain.
So regulations and procrastination.
Yeah, but it's important that we have the mandates. But even more important would be the voluntary market. When it comes to organizations, the public sector, private companies and so forth, it's very important. And of course, we're extremely happy to have won the tender with Regionala Flygplatser, where 10 airports participated. So that is, of course, setting the scene a bit. And we hope to gain a lot more on that. And I think when we as customers are putting more demands on sustainability for the companies and the organizations we deal with, that will also trigger them to do the right thing, as well as travel policies in municipalities and so forth.
Clemente, you're nodding. Would you like to comment?
Yeah, I think that I have an example with Bradens that up to last year was flying to Lyon for a Volvo, if I'm not wrong, and the Volvo was buying 50% of the fuel as a SAF. So voluntarily is something that is sounding good. If there is a will from the several actors around the regional aviation, then we will have immediately more SAF on the aircraft, whilst obliging and forcing the airlines to, with the current regulation for the book and claim that just just came to be approved now, but it was not approved, so it was very difficult for airlines refueling in the airports, and the refueling in the airports for just few kilos of carburant mandatorily, and paying then the refueling flat fee. That is increasing cost and burden for the airlines. Whilst voluntarily the airlines could do much more with their customers. So if the customers are paying, then the airlines will be able to.
True. So more of carrots than sticks, rather. Yeah. So I'd like to move to the next dimension, on the ground. And Simon, you have been waiting. We're looking so much forward to hear about your job at Lycksele Airport, an excellent example of green airport transition. Can you briefly just introduce yourself and your airport, so we know what we're talking about?
Yes. Hello, I'm Simon.
Very good.
Yes. Yeah, I represent an airport up north. We have about 18,000 passengers a year, and we're 32 employees and approximately 25 full-time. So that gives us, Arlanda is about 20 million passengers, so we're about 1,000 the size of Arlanda, we're quite small. So we operate the state-supported routes, or the PSO traffic, public service obligation routes, which is very important for the connectivity in our part of the world. And we also have the air ambulance, the region's ambulance helicopter based with us, and we're also an emergency preparedness airport. So we're quite small, but we do quite a lot.
You do. You are filling several functions there, I hear.
Yeah.
So if we then move to your work, sustainability work, what have you done on the ground?
What have we done? Yeah, we basically just started at looking what we actually do. So we asked ourselves the question, where do we use energy, of course? Where do we use fossil fuel? And what do we buy? What do we throw away? So really nothing big and fancy in the beginning. It was just mapping it out, really. Then we switched to fossil-free electricity and district heating, and also HVO 100 for our vehicles. And that really made the trick. It's, of course, much more expensive. And it has a direct effect on the budget, but more importantly, also on the climate. We basically started...
You need to make some substantial investments.
Of course, or substantial, we have, yes. Yes.
Okay.
So we just started there, and now we're about to be cleared for ACA level 3, which is basically we are fossil free now.
Well done. That merits a round of applause, I think.
Yes, that's hold for applause.
So how did you make this work? It sounds so simple when you describe it.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I wasn't there when it started. I think it started much related to the Grön Flygplats 1.0. And that shows it really that the transition and it's not really the organization. It's not really the one person. It's more the organization and how we handle it as an organization. It shouldn't be down to one person. So to me, that's just proof. But then there is also, of course, we were into the funding challenge and the investments. We're part of a bigger system with state support and all of that. And also there is our owners, a very small municipality. I mean, even relatively small contributions like 1 or 2 million SEK is directly competing with other parts of public services. So, I mean, the funding keeps us going, but it doesn't really cover investments.
Okay.
So that's a challenge. We try to, reuse what we have as long as we can. And when we buy new, we buy secondhand more or less when we are able. We are very careful with investments.
Was there lots of nitty-gritty red tape, krånglig byråkrati?
Yes and no. Can you...
So sort of filling in forms, reports?
Around the... Okay, you mean around the ACA certification?
Yeah.
Yes. There's a lot of stuff you need to do. And that's also a challenge because, people wear many hats at small airports, and some of you know. Let me take the example of our environmental coordinator. He also works in ramp operations and fire and rescue. So that means when he's out handling aircraft, he's also in fire and rescue. And he also handles wildlife control, because why not? And on top of that, he's an environmental coordinator. So we really try to make the most of what we have.
Yeah, obviously. Very good. Would you like to comment, Christian? Because this is, of course, a prerequisite for you to be able to distribute your fuel, fossil-free fuel on small airports. What are your reflections when you hear Simon's story here?
I don't really know what the immediate reflection would be, but if I look at the regional airports, I think maybe you should invest even more, if we're looking at all airports, into the infrastructure and take control of that. Because that is something that would really open up for competition. Today, I think the airports are locked in long lease agreements with some of the major fuel distributors. And of course, I want to enter that market, so I'm a bit biased there. But I think it can also be a better business model for the airports. They will own the equipment, they will tender for fuel and fueling services. And then you can have contracts for 2 or 3 years, and if you're not performing, you have a new tender. But today, you're normally stuck in long-term leases.
Nice take. And you're here to be biased, basically, as well.
Yeah,
so it's fine. What's your main takeaway from this work so far?
Main takeaway so far, I would say it's, the reason why we needed to start. Or you don't need the perfect conditions, to be honest. I mean, you don't have to be big like others. You don't have to have the big resources or that. It's just to start mapping, start your process, stop finding excuses to not do it.
Just
get on. Just get on.
That's good.
That's my main.
Peter, would you like to join us on stage, because it's time to conclude? So you've heard much is being done, not least by the parties we have represented here on stage. But now, as we sum up and send our messages to the right recipients, please, you can include any actor as to see what they can do. What would make the greatest difference in enabling the transition? Would like to start, Peter?
Well, I would say to sit and listen to the discussions here and your example. We have had it project for now running for 7 years. It's governmental funded. It's governmental monitored. So we have the eyes on the project, but still we are asking for funds, and we provide good example, like the free example here today. So I think it speaks for itself. And it's hard to have guidelines and try to persuade ourselves to do specific thing. I think evolution is when business and academia develop things. And I mean, the things we're talking today, we didn't know that we were here 5 or 7 years ago.
No, so partnerships with the right actors here. Clemente, che cosa fare? What shall we do?
Well, I'm not a magician cooker. I would say that the regulation or the regulating the environment, the aviation environment, will be a good help, because we have now too many burden on the airlines, and the smaller airlines are paying, like the airports. The smaller are paying the toll and the fee to organize themselves to answer to all the burden of the regulations. And also, I think that a little bit of awareness of the public opinion about this debate train against aircraft, because when we are talking about this, we just forget all that is behind the train, behind the aircraft. An aircraft needs 1,200 meters for an ATR to land of gravel. A train needs 1,200 kilometers that has to be built, and producing CO2, producing pollution, cutting forests, that's everything. And for an aircraft, it's just 1,000 meter, and then
Yeah.
That is something that is forgotten often.
Yeah, so requesting a different angle from media in this matter. Christian, what will make the greatest change?
I would like to tap in on, the transport system should be fit for purpose, and we shouldn't put transport modes against each other. But whatever mix of transports we have, we should ensure that we try to make them sustainable in that respect. And then we should also look at it from a security of supply perspective, resilience perspective, and the total defense perspective, where the regional airports plays a vital role, and it will also play a vital role for mobility. But to make it sustainable, we then need to open it up for competition, and especially the very good SD1 molecules in Gothenburg. So there are business model of doing that. But the voluntary demand is also so crucial. So I would like to see the 20 or more plus airports that haven't yet joined the green airport tender should do that.
Okay.
We're also looking forward for a positive response from Swedavia. And then, of course, that municipalities are open up in their travel policies for sustainable travel with aviation.
Yeah.
That sounded like a very long monologue.
But basically join the sustainability club, huh? For airports, no matter who the operator is. Yes, please, Simon, what would make the greatest difference?
Yeah, I repeat myself. I say stop finding excuses to not start and start to work. Start the mapping process.
Yeah, will do. So I won't keep you here on stage. We'll set this great work afoot as soon as possible. Thank you so much for your participation. You get a round of applause, and we also pay. We buy biofuel checks to compensate for a flight from Stockholm to Visby as a speaker's gift. Thank you so much. Please hang on with us here as we go on to the next seminar, which is hosted by SAS. We pick up on some of the main topics with the visionary outlook here on Swedish domestic aviation in transition, also in English. Vår flyg- och rymdquiz hör ni är på engelska. Eller förlåt, på svenska. Passar perfekt för att göra under pausen, så det kan ni göra om ni vill. QR-kod finns på bild här så småningom.